Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. Live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check them out. It's Christmas time, folks. Get you a nice gift for someone at International Diamond Center Studios. Today's program, we'll have Buddy Martin, and then we'll have Zach Abolverdi join us. He'll give us all the updates on the portal, coaching changes, all that good stuff. You missed it last night. Steelers beat the Dolphins. And let's go to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by the host of the Buddy Martin Show. You can listen to it every weeknight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Buddy Martin Show. It's Buddy Martin. How you doing, my man?
Good. They just didn't beat the Dolphins. They beat the dog out of the Dolphins. I mean, man, I tell you what.
Yeah, it was 7-3, I think, at half. So
3-0, I believe.
Maybe so.
Anyway, bottom line was Aaron looked like they found him a quarterback in Pittsburgh. The guy's been around a little bit before we might have heard of him. Rodgers had a big smile on his face last night. He's a happy guy. So anyway, all the best to him. It's going to be interesting now without Kansas City in the playoffs. This is when I start plugging in the NFL now that college football season is just winding down. And I can get into it a little bit more. And you get a good game, you get a good one. Some crazy ones. Phillip Rivers, what a great story he is. Unfortunately, he didn't get the win on a W, but it was fun to watch a guy 44 throwing a touchdown pass. Shane, you could get out there and do that. It may be time for you to get out there and try it again.
Yeah, I'm a lot older than Phillip Rivers.
That's all right. You still got arm.
Yeah, but no thanks. I'll pass on that. I don't feel like getting hit at my age. All right, buddy. Had some breaking news yesterday. DJ Lagway is in the portal. I am not surprised at all. Are you surprised?
Surprised, not shocked. And you've been talking about it for quite some time about exactly, what this means and where it goes and all that. And whether or not he was desirable. And I guess and look, let me just say one thing. You know a little bit. I don't know anything. I read a lot. I hear things. I also hear a lot of people reacting to what they think they read and casting aspersions and making comments that are ridiculous. I just want to bring it back to square one for a second. It's the coach's right to pick whatever quarterback he wants. If he wants to go get Philo, the kid from Georgia Tech, although I think you question that, but there are 3 Georgia Tech assistants coming to work here, including the quarterback coach. Looks like it's trending that way. That's his privilege. Now, he's got a couple of guys on the squad that are still a brand new recruit, and one that we thought played pretty well, had a chance to have played more last year. I just want to say this. We don't really know what happened. We think we know what happened. You may know more, Shane. CBS did a pretty good job on whatever his source was. If what we read is accurate about DJ, we'll talk about that. Was asked something like, who are you as a quarterback? And I don't know that he took umbrage at it or didn't like it, but it didn't seem to go well from there. There wasn't any talk about NIL. There wasn't any that talk, according to this report now, or guarantees playing time. I think I heard, maybe you did the same, he was asked, what are you all about? And, some people have said, well, he didn't like that question. Look, nobody who's making $3.8 million is all we're hearing in NIL money has been the starter and the preferred one, the chosen one for almost 2 years, likes being questioned like that. I mean, just like Coach Spurrier. Now, I'm not saying the same thing. It's just kind of thing when someone says, you want to go be a coach, give us your resume. We know what Spurrier could do, and of course he's not going to give a resume. And I think there has to be an appreciation for this guy helping hold together the program when it was in dire straits, about to become a dumpster fire, giving it his best shot. Yeah, he had bad mechanics, and yes, he threw too many interceptions, and maybe he's not the quarterback. But I will always respect him for giving all that he had and trying to, win here and do and having that just saving Billy's job for better or worse, and what he did. So as he leaves, I wish him the best. I think he'll go somewhere and succeed. I think he's better than what some are saying. Oh, Kansas just stay with her. He's still a pretty good quarterback. You make a good point when you say his mechanics are bad and probably didn't have time to fix them, and he's injured. He still has to have surgery at some point in time. So maybe he'll take that year now off and do that. But yeah, it's just a saga. This is how the business is done today, Shane. And by the way, NIL money, a big chunk of that money is going to have to go to number 13. He deserves a raise.
Yeah. Here's the way sports should work and did work. You sit down, and I've said this every year we've had the transfer portal, and it happens every day in the National Football League. The eye and the sky don't lie. What you do out on the field is your product that you're putting out there. And this coaching staff did not think he was good enough to be the quarterback at University of Florida. That's the bottom line. Whether it doesn't matter if it's DJ, it doesn't matter if it's player X, player Y, at left tackle, right tackle, center, whatever. They're going to bring in who they like, who they want to play at those positions. It's their job. I mean, John Sumrall is being paid a lot of money now to run the University of Florida football program. And he and Buster Faulkner decided that they want to bring in a different quarterback. That's fine. I wish DJ a lot of luck. I hope he gets his mechanics right, plays well wherever he goes. But the product on the field is why these coaches didn't want him, in my opinion. So,
well, I don't know. You could be right. I think they said they didn't want him, but they questioned whether he was the right guy, and maybe he wasn't. I don't know.
Because you turn the tape on and you watch it, buddy, and you have to win at that level in the Southeastern Conference, that position has to play at a high level. You look at the teams that are in the playoffs from the SEC, the upper echelon, it's because their quarterback plays well. And look, you're going to have bad games here and there, but it's consistency. The average fan gets so enamored with the flash, the splash plays. I've said it for 15 years. I've said it for 6 years, however long this podcast has been going on. It doesn't matter who's playing that position. You need consistency. It's the hardest position, the most important position in all of sports. And if your guy is not consistent, you're not going to be in the hunt. It doesn't matter what level of football you're playing in.
Who's
And
the
this
last
has nothing
quarterback
to do
who
with
was
DJ. Again,
consistent?
I hope he goes somewhere with a fresh start. He can get his body healthy. Here's the other thing too is when you go to the National Football League, buddy, because this is college football now, they look at your injuries. They don't want a bunch of dudes that going to get hurt every week. So he needs to probably get his body right. And I don't know where he's going to go. Somebody asked me if I thought he was going to go to Baylor. I have no idea. Don't know.
Well, that's one of the schools put out there by the CBS story. Baylor.
Yeah, I hope he does well wherever he goes.
But don't you have a little appreciation for the fact that when everybody was bailing, he was recruiting kids and standing up and kind of getting them to come play, and he was a representative. What?
What do you mean when people were bailing?
When the program was going down the tube under Napier, when he pulled the season out and saved his job, there were a lot of people, who wanted to fold the tents. He was DJ. Give him credit. He was recruiting guys to come play there. I thought he was a great representative for the school. I think he gave.
I agree with all that, buddy.
But I just want to make that point. I want to get that. I mean, I know this is a business.
This is not a bash DJ deal.
I understand it, but I still want to make sure that gets said.
Yeah.
I think we should say that.
Rob in West Virginia on the Titan Mar text line says, Shane, all I want is a quarterback that will throw completions. Me too.
Kyle Trask was pretty good at that, wasn't he?
He was damn good. He was very good. Very, very good. All right. So Clint says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, something about Ball removing all his Gator stuff. I think Jaden Ball will be a Gator. I'll be very surprised if he's not.
What's he saying about removing his Gators? What do you mean removing his Gators stuff
He said he removed
online?
all his UF content from his social media, is probably upset about DJ and signaling he wants to test the market. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to be a Gator next fall. Yeah, I think he'll be back.
He'd be smart to stay where he is because he's going to be a featured back. And without an established quarterback, as we know so far, they look like they want to run the football. And this could be like, what else, what better signal can there be than when Summerall said, when after looking at the tape, saying, I'd have given it to him 10 more times against FSU. So I don't know. Listen, this is how it's going to be. Quote, test the market. Test the market.
Yeah, which is it's a dumb rule. I mean, till they change it, it is what it is. But sometimes it's good for your program when people go test the market. It's a way you can release them from your football team. Mensa Franklin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Mensa makes $4 million at Duke. So people are asking me, here it is. Scott wants to know, Shane, who would be the top 2 portal QBs you would target?
Yeah.
I don't know who's in the portal, Scott. I don't really follow that. I have heard, obviously, Mensa, who played at Tulane and transferred to Duke for all the money, had a phenomenal year this year. Let's not forget his team won the ACC championship game. He may go into the NFL draft. I do think we have a chance of getting him. I do think we have a very good chance of getting Arafalo from Georgia Tech.
Fallow's got 3 assistant coaches now on the staff here, including his quarterback coach.
Yeah, Buster Faulkner's brought in a couple of guys that know his system to help in that aspect, which does not surprise me at all. That's what.
Well, it's the Florida Yellow Jackets now.
Well, not necessarily, buddy. I mean, it's only 3 guys.
I'm
But
having fun, Shane. Just
I
like
know
to
you
calling Spurrier staff the Dookies. You know, he had a bunch of them. Every coach brings people that he knows.
Absolutely, they do.
And maybe they're great. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying the odds are they would like Philo because obviously they coached with him. One of them was his quarterback coach.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let me get to some of these Facebook Live comments. If I can pull them up. I don't know what's going on. Why does it quick? I'll have to. I don't know why the thing does this now, but anyway.
They change it all the time, Shane. They always change
Yeah,
it.
but the problem is on Facebook, it scrolls and it doesn't allow you to scroll back through. I can only scroll back through if I go to my phone right here. Don says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon. Shane, you've said it many times, and now has labeled some of these QBs and other position players as elite way before they've earned that title. Well, it's not name, image, and likeness. It's called pay for play. And what's happening is there are tons of kids being paid a lot of money out of high school before they actually prove themselves on the playing field. That's just the way it is. And unfortunately, you get burned sometimes. Sometimes it works out.
Well, you get a wad of money, Shane. Let's say I'm gonna give you an album. I'm gonna give you 15 million NIL money to go get who you want, and then you shopping this. And what's this guy worth? Now, let me just say this is controversial, but this is not brand new. You know, and I know players have been being paid for a long time.
Right.
And I know that a recent Florida coach that I won't name his name was heard to say by someone who was really working with him, $20,000 is too much to pay for a cornerback. You know, I mean, it's going to. I don't know, Shane. I don't know. You probably know more about this than you ever say, but guys have been getting paid forever.
Oh, they have been. I didn't get a damn dollar. I want some money. I need back pay, buddy.
You need back pay. You need combat pay. Let me tell you something, brother. If anybody deserves it, you do for what you did because you brought it. You put us on the map, baby.
Brandon asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon. Tell us more about the F Club. F Club is a letterman's. If you letter in any sport at the University of Florida, you're in the F Club.
Who's a member of this, by the way?
Buddy, you're an F Club member?
I certainly am.
There you go.
I have a freshman letter in baseball, and I'm a member of the club.
There you go.
I
That's
have a
awesome.
card that says I'm a member of it.
All
I
right.
can actually go in there before the games. I never do.
I've never
You
been
know?
in either.
Yeah.
I take care of all the gear for the F Club.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Andy asked on Facebook Live, Shane, are you disappointed that Katie Daniels is going to the portal? Man, I love Katie Daniels, but I
Yeah.
get it. He wants to play. He won't get a whole lot of playing time here.
Mm.
Really good running back. Um, he'll land somewhere. Absolutely love him.
There's
John
a
on
lot of
Facebook,
players out there. A lot of players out there. Shane, get your shop on this out. Get your Monopoly money and go get them.
yeah, I like I said, I said it last night on your show, buddy, and I say it on this show a lot. Gator fans only watch their team for the most part. I mean, they watch football because they watch the SEC. There's so many good players across America that will be in the portal that may be better than players that we have. I know people get enamored with this player or that player. Here's the other thing, buddy. Now I was thinking about this. College football is like the NFL now from a,
Mhm.
pay structure and all that stuff. The one position that the NFL probably doesn't put a lot of value in, especially when it comes to the draft. You know what position that is?
Center.
It's the running back.
Yeah. Well, they're
Because
not high
you
on
can
the.
find a bunch
Yeah.
of good running backs.
Well, look at the draft. They
I'm
don't
not
get
saying we
drafted
don't need to
high.
pay Jaden Ball. I'm just saying
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of good running backs. We have some good running backs on our team. He's a stud. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But do you really overpay to keep him when it could help the rest of the team? That's something for these guys that get paid a lot of money to figure
Yeah.
out, not for me.
What do you think?
I think he's very good, but if you can get somebody equivalent to him
Hmm.
and for half the price and use that money somewhere else, you have to do that. That
I don't
money.
think you can just alone. And look at the information. He's what, the strongest player in history of Florida. He's durable. He played the entire year, never got hurt.
Look, I'm not saying
He's
don't. I did not
I
say don't
understand,
keep
but I'm
him.
just
I'm
saying
just
they
saying
can't.
that's where the game has
I,
gone.
and that's why I'd give him about half that money that DJ is getting. If he's getting 3.8, then he ought to get two at least.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're making. I have no idea. I never see that list. Those are no names and numbers being thrown out there by people that we know. Last night while you were on the show, they were saying, well, he's getting 3.8, he's getting this. I don't know how they know this. Do you?
What the people getting paid?
Yeah.
They can leak it. I mean,
Well,
the
the
people who are
ages.
writing these contracts are at Florida Victorious or whatever
Yeah.
collective the schools have. They know what the kids are being paid. So if
Yeah.
there's some intern in there that sees on the spreadsheet Buddy Martin's getting paid 2.5 million, he may accidentally say it to some beat writer or something. I
Okay.
don't.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's ways for them to find out.
I have no valid way of looking that up and, to knowing it. So you have to rely, and I hate that in my business of relying on rumors and hearsay, because it's just like people getting at the whole issue now about Lagway, about being a bum because he wants more money. They don't even know what happened in that meeting. They have no idea. They have one report out of it, and they're trying, based on that, they make a judgment on a kid and they bash him. Look, I mean, it's his right to go where he wants to play, and it's his right for Summerall to say they don't want him as a quarterback. But I don't. We don't need to have some of this crap that's being said about. Don't bash players, okay? Please.
Tony from Atlanta on the Titanmore text. Now, is there anything to make of the comments by Lagway's agent saying that Summerall basically ghosted him? I don't know anything about that. John Summerall made a comment yesterday. I don't remember who asked him, but he said he wishes DJ well. I mean,
Yeah. It
look,
was Edgar
again,
Thompson, I believe, man, had a quote from him too. Yeah.
again, buddy, how many times have I said on this program, you and I can be on the same coaching staff, watch a player, regardless of what position it is. You love him. I may have question marks about him.
Hmm.
That's our opinion. So we know Billy Napier loved DJ as many players did coaches did around America. John Summerall, Buster Faulkner, obviously have a different view, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? So
No, that's what they
they're the
get
ones
paid
in
to do.
charge of the program. We have to remember that. They don't give a damn what the fans think or any of that. Their job is to win football games. And
Hmm.
if we have to play in the wishbone to win games, that's fine. But they're going to find us a quarterback that they feel like is going to be what we need. So,
Aaron Philo,
yeah, very good.
they gave a recruiter to go into it. Griffin, was his name Griffin, right? The guy they just
Will
got.
Griffin, Will Griffin
Yeah,
from Tampa Jesuit. Yeah.
yeah. It comes with a lot of promise, I hear.
So what's interesting is I want to say Will Griffin broke all of Tebow's records in high
I
school.
think you're right.
So could you imagine if Philo, so he's like the all-time leading whatever
Yeah, in Georgia high school
that's
football.
for Florida high school. And if Philo transfers here, he's the all-time leading passer
For
in the state of
Georgia.
Georgia.
Hmm.
So, and then you got Tramel Jones. People are forgetting about Tramel. I think
I didn't forget
Tramel's,
about Tramel Jones. I want to see more of him last year, and
yeah.
I don't know why we didn't, but they didn't feel like he was ready. And I don't know. I could never figure out Billy's whole system for playing quarterbacks.
Ruzoga State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. I got Buddy Martin here for a few more minutes. Buddy, let's get to this day in sports, which is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. And on this day in 2013, the 79th Heisman Trophy Award went to Jameis Winston, Florida State University.
How about that? It's funny, the Heisman thing. Somebody sent me a clip last night. There's a service for this guy keeps a bunch of paper, letters. There's an old Sports Illustrated, and it was on the Spurrier winning the Heisman. He was on the cover, and on the side, where you have your magazines that tell you where the address is my name in White Plains, New York. And the guy said, "Is this you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I want to get this to you." So there's a Sports Illustrated out there with my name subscription. There's Coach Spurrier's picture on the front.
Very
And
cool.
how cool would that be to be able to get that? So somewhere I'll get that. Yeah. Um, yeah, Shane, we talked about this last night. Highly disappointed in what happened to Diego Pavia and what he did. He went off. He issued an apology, but you can't undo what was done. Paul Feinbaum said yesterday, I don't disagree with him on this. He said, if I could get the Heisman Committee to undo my vote, I would take my vote away from Pavia. And I'm with him. I voted for him too, and I would too. It was disastrous what he did. Vanderbilt's shining moment. Kid probably had a couple of drinks, and they had a sign, F the voters, and they just made asses out of themselves, and they'll live to regret that the rest of their life. It was ugly, and then you compare it to the guy who won the Heisman. What a fantastic job Mendoza did. By the way, he's Cuban American from Miami. Didn't know he was Cuban, and he was touched all the right bases. But Pavia representing a school that didn't get many moments in the sun, embarrassed himself, his school, and I'm ashamed of him.
Andy's question for you, buddy, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. Buddy, what is more important for Michigan's next coach, changing the perception of the program or the number of wins?
Well, I would say changing the perception. Michigan fans would probably say number of wins. That's pretty bad. And that culture goes way deep. Shane, have you ever read much about Connor Stallions?
No, I have not.
He's the cheater.
No,
He
I know
wrote
who
the
he is.
code. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you keep hearing stories about Michigan. I mean, Florida hired their president and then unhired him. There's a problem in Ann Arbor that's going deep there, and this may be a case of mental illness, and I wish Coach all the best on that. But that thing goes deep. Harbaugh got away with it and shouldn't have, and Michigan's got to change their culture and change it deep, and it won't be done overnight. It's going to be a tough one.
I think they will get rid of everybody that was under Jim Harbaugh's leadership
They need
in the
to.
athletic department, and I don't think they'll hire anybody, but we'll see.
You don't think DeVore might go still?
Yeah, but he has nothing to do with Jim Harbaugh. That's
No,
what
I'm just saying, but now he's
do not.
issued a denial saying he's not going to go and not going to leave. Of course, we know how that goes.
Yeah. Reggie says, and on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law, Will Griffin played in a high school division in high school, played in a high division in high school. Philo was Division I in Athens. Coney County isn't a hotbed for football. I hear you, but if you can throw it, you can throw it. You know, people said the same thing about Will Greer. He played very low level high school football up in Carolina. Is it North or South Carolina? I can't remember, but he could flat out throw it. If you can throw it, you can throw it. So, anyway, we got another text here. Well, we got a bunch of texts, but Monty says on the Titan More text line, I believe that the hiring of Phil Troutwine might be the most significant of all the coaching.
It's big.
hires.
It's big.
Yeah.
I was talking to Urban last night on my show. He didn't recruit Troutwine. Zook did, as he pointed out, but he played for Urban, and he's been at Penn State for 6 years. He's had a phenomenal number of players go to the NFL. Phenomenal number. And they are, listen, this offensive line never was fixed right. Jake Slaughter, by the way, got another All-American second team last night. He had a great year. There was nothing stellar on the offensive line. It needed to be. And I think Troutwine might be their guy. He's going to be an important person. Remember, we made a big deal out of the fact that Billy brought in 2 offensive line coaches, and neither one of them did that great. Rob Sale was the Giants' offensive line coach. I was disappointed in the development of offensive linemen, weren't you, Shane?
Yeah, I think everything works hand in hand, right? You know, I've always said when a quarterback gets sacked, whose fault is it, buddy?
Offensive lineman.
Not necessarily, though.
I know sometimes it's
quarterback may
hold the
have
ball
not seen
too
the
long.
hot. He could have held the ball on. He could have escaped the pocket too soon.
Yeah.
So it's all one group, right? Everybody has to do their job. That's the beauty about football. I think Troutwine's a great hire. I think Buster Faulkner is the key, though. He can call plays. He can scheme people up.
How did he get so well known and do so well so fast?
Well, he played in the air raid offense at Valdosta State. Then he coached. He coached under Kirby. He was the quarterback coach there under Stetson Bennett. They went back to back. Look, some people just I tell people this all the time, man. There's only a handful of great play callers. You can see it in the National Football League. These guys they're born with it. You're born with it. Coach Spurrier was born with the gift to call plays. Just like you were born to write stuff, buddy. Not everybody can do it. People think just because you're a coach, you can call plays. That ain't the case, folks. That ain't the case at all.
Billy Napier proved that.
Yeah, there's a ton of people, not just Billy, but other coaches in the SEC that can't call plays, but they have offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator next to their name.
They're finally decided that head coaches don't need to be play callers. So Coach Spurrier was unique in that regard.
Well, you still got a bunch of good ones doing it.
I know you do, but there's just so few of them.
The NFL has a ton of them. But all right, buddy, who you got on the program tonight?
Well, it's Lauren. It's Coach Benner's night tonight. He and Rob Brown will be carrying the ball tonight for us on the program, reminding folks we got upcoming book signings here on the great book by Franz Beard, The Golden Season. And check out Lauren tonight, and he'll have some great guests for you on the program.
Buddy, good stuff. We'll talk to you next week, my man.
Thank you, Shane.
That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by Zach Abolverdi. Get his thoughts on and some updates on what's going on. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
The jewelry store with the most likes, the most positive reviews, the most raving fans is International Diamond Center.
IDC is definitely a place that I will come to as long as I live here. This will be my go-to place always.
Literally the best jewelry store in town. You'll make friends for life coming in here. I felt like family from the beginning. The value was extraordinary.
I've got a beautiful diamond on my finger and I'm very proud of it.
International Diamond Center.
I'm very happy to show it off.
At Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center studios. When Urban Meyer wanted to introduce his high-quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC and his team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorn's Liquors. Go Beyond with smooth Los Landeros tequila. Back to the Titan Emerald Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Our man Zach Abolverdi from Gators Online on 3. He does a little bit of everything. What's up, my man? How are you?
Doing well, man. How are you, Shane?
I'm good. I'm sure you boys ain't getting a whole lot of sleep right now, but let's start with DJ Lagway going into the portal. There's all kinds of stories out there. You know, I don't know what happened. Obviously, I wasn't in the meeting, but I've been in a lot of those type meetings now because I think college football is a lot like pro football. And they sit down and say, hey, look, we're probably going to bring in somebody else to compete with you, whether you like it or not. That's what we're going to do. And TJ probably didn't like that. Hit the portal. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's probably how the conversation went. What are your thoughts?
I think the conversation went probably exactly like that. And I think they probably also added, you can stay if you want, but it's going to be open competition as opposed to we really want you. Like, we want you to be here. We need you here. Whatever it takes, we're going to do. Like that wasn't the messaging. And he's going to get some of that messaging from some other schools that need a quarterback and value him. But, you know, that's just, I think, honestly, Shane, for both parties, it made sense. You know, we put it out at Gators Online earlier this month that he was a guy that could explore his options in the portal. That's what we were hearing. And it didn't surprise me that was the case. Just, you know, I've seen so many guys at the University of Florida go through this, unfortunately. You know, Jeff Driscoll, a lot of guys that have come through here. And once you have some struggles and the fans start turning against you, I don't think that had completely happened with DJ yet. But sometimes it's just good to go get a fresh start. So many guys went and got a fresh start, went somewhere else, and ended up kind of rebounding in their career. And maybe he's a guy that could be able to do that. But I also think that he needs to go somewhere where he's wanted and they need him to be the starter. And that, if he was going to stay here, as you said, Shane, he was going to have to compete for the job. It's going to be open competition. And I'm not saying he is against that or wouldn't have done it, but if you got other places that are saying you're going to be QB1 and they're going to maybe even pay you more, it might behoove you to kind of take that opportunity.
Yeah. All right. So obviously the $1 million question right now is, where do you think the Gators go in the portal for the quarterback?
Yeah, Steve Wilfong from On 3 reported on Monday that Florida's going to aim to take 2 transfer portal quarterbacks. Now, that's not a surprise given their quarterback attrition. You know, they already lost 2 senior scholarship quarterbacks in Harrison Bailey and Clay Millen. And yes, Clay Millen was still on the team and he was still on scholarship. And now you got DJ leaving. So you're losing 3 quarterbacks from the room. So you need to replace that depth. You're bringing in Will Griffin as an early enrollee. But so it makes sense that Florida's going to go after 2. The name that's been out there now, I think for probably over a week at this point, is Aaron Philo. He's not entered the portal yet, by the way, the Georgia Tech quarterback, but he's a guy that probably is going to be their starter in 2026 if he decides to stay. But he could also decide to follow Faulkner to Gainesville, and he might be Florida starter in 2026. So he'd have to compete for the job. I do think, though, if they get him, Shane, and maybe regardless of whether they get him or he enters the portal, like I think that second guy that Florida gets is going to have to be a little bit more experienced, be a little bit more seasoned, be a guy that's a little bit older and is more of a veteran. Because if it is Philo, every guy that's in that room is going to be an underclassman with Tramel Jones and Will Griffin and him. So you got to have somebody else that can, give you something else. And maybe you bring in kind of a stopgap quarterback that's a 1-year type deal. And maybe he's the starter if you feel like one of the other young guys isn't ready. So we'll see what Florida does.
Don's question for you on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. Mike Peterson Jr. entered the portal. Is Mike Sr. still a coach here?
I'm not sure what his situation is. I don't believe that he's been retained as an assistant coach, but it sounds like he's been offered maybe another position on the staff. So we don't know his situation yet, but yes, his son did enter the portal, or announce, excuse me, that he was going to enter the portal. They can't hit the portal to the second.
He was a walk-on, correct?
He was a walk-on, yes.
Yeah. This text on the Titan Mark text line says, can you ask Zach who or what he is hearing about who's coming as the strength coach?
I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do. You got to think maybe there's somebody that at Tulane that could come with them. Maybe there's somebody at Florida that might stay and be part of the strength staff as well. So we'll see what they do. That is the one candidate pool that I'm not as familiar with as some of the assistant coaches.
So let's talk about the offensive staff. Basically, we have Troutwine at O-line. Faulkner, OC is. I know he brought his quarterback coach. Is he going to be an analyst, or is he going to actually have the title of quarterback coach?
No, he's going to be the assistant quarterback coach. So
will he be counted as one of the 10 coaches, or they even?
He will not be. He will not be. No.
Okay.
No. I mean, they don't do that, but from a staff structure, salary standpoint, like from a UAA, they still are going to have a certain number of assistant coaches. It's just more than 10 now. Now might be, it can get up to 13, 14 if you want it to. But they're going to have a quarterback coach that will likely be above the person you're referring to, AJ. And I'm assuming that Faulkner is going to coach the quarterbacks. He's done that mostly in his career. He did coach tight ends at Georgia Tech and at Arkansas State. So he can do that as well. We don't know what they're going to do at tight ends coach either. So
who else officially do we know is going to be on the offensive staff?
We got Troutwine, like you said. The only other guys that are for sure hired at this point is Marcus Davis, the receivers coach from Auburn. So which was great hire. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's from the state of Florida. He's played in the SEC. He's coached in the SEC. He's recruited. I mean, guys signed Cam Coleman, man. I mean, that's almost like saying you signed Jeremiah Smith. So he's a big time recruiter. Remember, they got the Georgia Tech receiver from to come over to Auburn. He landed him as well, who was the number 1 receiver in the portal. So he's a legit hire.
So let's stay there. You talked about Cam Coleman, who's in the portal. Is he in the portal?
No, he's not in the portal.
Okay, well, he may be in the portal, I guess.
Yeah, I think I think that might depend if Florida is able to even entertain him. They're gonna have to be able to tell him who his quarterback is.
Right. So, but talking about our receivers right now, obviously so we have a few in the portal. Some, Tunkara went in there, I guess. But what is the status, do you think, with Vernell Brown III and Dallas Wilson?
I think both of those guys are probably going to figure out what all their offers are. And I think both of those guys probably want to stay at Florida. I'm pretty sure Vernell Brown the third does, but I mean I know that they're both getting offers, and so those are two players that I believe that Florida is prioritizing, and they want to keep on the roster, and they're probably going to do what it takes. You just got to figure out what makes sense financially and you know what I mean? Like if you're going to come up, Shane, on some players and pay more than you're allocating, well, then money's got to come down somewhere else, right? Like
Right.
somebody else is good. So is that other receivers at the position? Is that other guys at other positions? But some of that is probably going to happen if you're going to keep both of those guys.
Yeah,
They're going to have to pay them more money.
yeah, and again, I've said this, you got to look at it. If you have X amount of dollars slotted for certain positions, and you just stated it, if you go a little bit more just to keep who you think are star players, it could hurt your roster down the road somewhere else at
Correct.
a position. And I try to tell people, as much as we love these guys because they're on your team, they're just as good at players around America that you can find in the portal that may save you money. People don't like to hear that, but
Yeah.
Dallas Wilson is a special talent, but we've only seen him play in a few games,
He's
right?
played 4 games and he's got 12 catches, Shane.
Right. So you have to sit
I mean,
there.
Vernell Brown was Florida's leading receiver. It's an interesting discussion, because I think if you're talking about the two of them, Dallas Wilson's got the higher upside. He's probably the better, what would you say, NFL prospect?
Yes.
But Brown has done more and proven more. It's going to be. But look, I think again, those are two guys that I know Florida staff is working to keep, and I think that they're going to do what it takes.
Yeah. Joseph, I'm glad Joseph asked this question because I want you to kind of explain it. I don't think people understand it. But Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, how are kids getting offers without even being in the portal? Someone has to enforce tampering. This crap is Wild West, the Wild Wild West. That's what these kids are doing. So
They get
if
offers through their agents.
through their agent. So even if you're a Florida Gator and I play left tackle, my agent is calling LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, seeing if I'm being paid $400,000 from the Gators. If those guys offer me 5 or 600, we're going to come back and say this is what we're getting, or we're out of here. That's kind of how it's working, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, look, uh, at the end of the day, like the staff is this is one big math problem, right? And I mean, you got to figure out who is worth the money to invest in, and who are kind of your non-negotiables as far as we got to keep this guy on the roster. Um, and then there's certain price points that you're going to be willing to go to and meet, and at other times you're going to let a guy walk just because you either can't afford to pay that much. It's not a matter of afford. Afford's not the right word. Um, it
Are
doesn't
you
make
going to be
sense from
smart
a
with your
roster
money?
standpoint to allocate that much money to one player at that position, either because you got a bunch of other guys there so that, there's not a need, or you got money that you need to spend elsewhere. So but Florida's had to do that with some of the guys that left last year. They did that with some of the guys that left the year before, but then they also broke the bank for a lot of guys to stay now. You know what I mean? I mean, they will write those checks for the players that they want to keep. Um, I think the Miles Grahams of the world and some of the other guys on the team, Jaden Ball, like they're gonna do what it takes financially to make sure those guys stay in Gainesville.
Florida Crackers is a brand for original Floridians, great food and southern hospitality. Visit us in Brooksville, Florida, or visit Florida Cracker Oyster Bar in Keystone Heights. We got Zach Abolverdi here talking Gator football. All right, so let's talk about the defensive side of the football. Jordan Castell goes into the portal. I'm not surprised. Made flash plays here and there, but thought it was very average. Are you surprised he went in the portal?
Um, no, I mean the guy I mean, 34 straight starts at Florida, but he had an up and down career and just never could seem like he could find his groove, either in this defense or just, in that starting role. I mean, he definitely made plays now, but then he also missed plays. And the inconsistency kind of always stayed there, and you never saw him really grow out of that. Um, Maybe he could as a senior, but maybe he's better suited to go and do that somewhere else. The guy's had a lot of position coaches and changes during his career. So was probably going to have another one, obviously. So I just maybe for his best interest, I think he just decided, you know what, let me go get a fresh start for my last year and try to make the most of it somewhere else. I'm not surprised by it.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the defensive coordinator with what they've done on that side of the ball?
I love it, man. I love it. I mean, I think Florida fans would be kidding themselves if they couldn't admit that Kentucky's defense has gave the Gators problems in recent years, especially that defense in 2021 when they won in Lexington. So that was Brad White calling that sucker, and the dude was doing it with Kentucky talent. So imagine what he's going to be able to do now, calling things with Florida talent. I like the staff that they assembled. I think it was smart to keep Gerald Chapman. He's bringing over his defensive backs coach from Kentucky and Chris Collins. You're adding Brandon Harris as the cornerback coach, a dude from Miami. That's going to give you ties down there, former Miami and NFL player. So they've done a really good job putting this staff together. Still a couple spots left, but I thought Summerall made a statement with the coordinator hires. You come out of the gate like that with Brad White and Buster Faulkner, you mean business.
Yeah. I sit here just thinking about the coaches you were just naming. I don't know all their ages, but I know they're young. This is going to be a pretty young staff, isn't it? Or maybe I'm just showing my age right now.
Yeah. I mean, we'll still see who they add, but I mean, some of these guys are in their 40s.
Well, I
50s.
consider that young for coaching for some reason. I don't know why.
I think a guy in his 30s is young. But not necessarily at the cornerback coach, you know what I mean, is 35, I want to say, Brandon Harris. But you're gonna have probably a young guy or two on staff. I'll tell you what, Shane, that I know this. The guy calling plays on defense ain't as young as the first two coordinators that Billy hired.
That's very true.
You don't got to worry about that.
Yeah. No,
that's the hire that you can't have be 30 years old.
Yeah. I think it's good having young coaches though, but I'm just showing my age at 55 right now. I feel like I'm still young at sometimes, but Dustin,
I'm in my 30s, and sometimes I feel like I'm old.
Yeah. Dustin on Facebook Live wants to know, brought to you by Mello, what's Jaden Ball worth, or what would you pay him?
Look, man, you get good questions, Shane. You got some astute listeners and question askers. They're putting me on the spot. I'm gonna ask you, Shane, how many $1 million backs do you think there are in college football? How many backs do you think are getting $1 million in NIL? And mind you, running back is not one of the premium positions on offense. It's quarterback, left tackle, and wide receiver.
Yeah, I brought that up to Buddy. So you're saying just at $1 million?
$1 million for the year. How many backs you think out there, give or take?
I'm going to say none.
You don't got to name them.
I'm going to say none.
Less than 5.
Wow.
And I think Jaden Ball is going to get $1 million offers. So Florida has to make a decision. Do you make Ball one of the handful of guys that are $1 million running backs in the country? Because most running backs don't command that much money. But I don't know if he'll get $1 million in terms of other offers from other schools, but he's going to push it. And I think Florida's definitely probably going to end up doubling his salary of what he made in NIL this past season, and rightfully so. I mean, the dude had the second best game since Emmitt Smith and 10,000-yard rusher in school history. And it just that's one of those positions, and he's one of those players, Shane, where it's like, you can go try to find another running back in the portal and spend less, but he might be a special enough talent that he's worth doing it.
Yeah.
And then you got to think of perception standpoint. What would it do if you lost him? Like, you've already taken the hit of losing DJ Lagway, but I don't think anybody's all that upset about that. They're going to be upset if Jaden Ball leaves. And believe me, Florida's got the money to say, screw it. We're paying them $1.5 million. Like, they could do that if they want to, but that's
Right.
just not smart business. So I think they're going to probably get him in that range, and that's probably what it's going to take to keep him.
On YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Scott asks, is Spurrier Jr. staying on staff?
I'm not sure. You might know that better than me, Shane.
I think he'll have an opportunity to be kind of in the same role he's been in, unless he finds like a real coaching job elsewhere.
Sure.
But I hope he stays here.
And I think it seems like a lot of support staff people are going to get opportunities to stay from what we're seeing.
Yeah, that'll be a good thing. Gosh, I had one more question I wanted to ask you before we got you out of here, and I just lost.
About Faulkner? What do you think about Faulkner?
I love Buster Faulkner. I do a lot of business in the state of Georgia with high school teams there, and the high school coaches absolutely love him. I love what he's done. I think people think we're going to run a lot of quarterback power.
No, man, they're stupid. Listen,
We're
man,
not.
my favorite thing about him is Arkansas State.
Yeah, I
You
don't know.
familiar with what he did there?
Well, and I think he's been great everywhere he's been, but I think people look at Haynes King as just a tough dude who's a good football player, not a great thrower, great athlete.
Yeah.
They're very limited, and their head coach is an offensive line guy, so they wanted to run the football, but he throws it around, and people aren't aware of that.
In 2017 at Arkansas State, they had the number 5 passing offense in the FBS. Number 5. They had a top 10 offense. They had a top 10 scoring offense, and that was his second year there. The first year that he inherited that unit, they were like 90th in the country, Shane. So they jumped from 90 to like 7, and they had the number 5 pass offense in the country. When I saw that and read up on that and saw those stats, I'm like, okay, sign me up.
Yeah, he's more of a throwing guy than run guy. All right, last question, Frankie, on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Is Katie Turner staying?
Don't know. That's
But
I'm
that's
sure
got to be
she's
a package, some type of package deal, though, right?
got to be, and I'm sure she has the offer to stay. But I would also imagine she's got other offers.
But she got married, right?
She did. She's expecting. She's about to have a.
Oh, I didn't know
her
that.
first
But
child. Yeah.
a lot of people may not know she's married to one of the assistant or analyst wide receiver coaches.
Correct.
So he's going to want to continue doing what he loves to do, is coach. So I just didn't know if they're going to have to be a package deal wherever they go.
Probably, I would imagine so. And I also think, David is deserving of an opportunity like that too. So it's not like you're just doing her a favor. Like, the dude he's been working in that role for a long time, and he's worked with a lot of receivers. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely would imagine that she's been offered to stay and is one of those people that has been. But I also think that she's getting other offers too. So I'm sure we'll get some clarity on some of those people soon.
Good stuff, Zach. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter, look at your stuff on y'all's website. Got any specials going? What do y'all got going on right now?
Yeah, man, at Gators Online, we always got some type of deal going. And if we don't, you can usually get in the door for $1. Come check us out. We got 4-man staff, constant coverage around the clock, recruiting team, hoops. We'll be covering baseball and baseball season. We do it all. So, it's the juice is worth the squeeze, as they say.
Good stuff as always. Happy holidays, buddy. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, that's Zach Abolverdi. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Your roofing experts, that's Atlantic Roofing, for residential and commercial roofing with more than 50 years of local experience. Again, thanks to Zach and Buddy for joining us. The Pouncey twins provide all of Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorite flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.